surprise, Rey's backstory makes no fucking sense. They don't explain any of this at all, why it's significant, what it means, even how she really survives. This entire thing is just like... It's so fucking dumb and incoherent. It's just like, they try so hard. I've said this so many times in the past few episodes, but they try so hard to make this stuff seem significant, to make it seem like a big deal, but it just falls flat, like every single time. Like, I don't understand what the big deal is. Like, everything just fucking nonsensical. It's fucking nonsensical. Like, it really is. There's nothing about this that, like, really makes a whole lot of sense. Like, Rey kills herself, but not really. But she's like a clone, and like, it's just like, everything about it is just, again, who cares? It makes no sense. So why should you care? Like, it's not deep or complicated. Like, it doesn't have, like, you know, a sense of unique style or flair to it. Like, there's nothing there to really keep you invested. But it's the Metal Gear Solid 2 thing all over again. Like, possibly to a much worse degree, right? Where there are people out there who pretend that, like, all of this nonsense means something. That, like, it's a bit, like, it has, like, a hidden meaning to it. That, like, there's a reason all of this fucking sucks, you know? But really, when you get right down to it, like, hidden meanings are fine, but, like, the core product, like, the good surface level thing should be good as well. Like, it should be enjoyable. It should be, like, mean something on the surface. Like, hidden meanings are fine, but you need to have something there, you know, on the surface level. And, like, when it comes to Evangelion, like, everything, the way they tell stories, the way they animate, like, everything about it is just so off-putting and poorly handled and just all around uninteresting. Like, I don't care about Rey being a clone. Like, I don't care about, like, Ritsuko fucking killing them all. Like, I don't fucking care about her breaking down at the end. Like, I don't fucking care about, like, all of this. Like, I don't fucking care about, like, Rey not remembering shit. Like, I don't care about, like, just, you know, the evil council doing shit. Like, I just don't care. Like, none of it is interesting. And the opening, okay, I keep doing this. Like, I keep bringing up the opening for, like, the next episode. But I think this is the point where the show goes to complete shit. Because what I've seen from the opening teaser for the next episode, it looks like something out of a fucking manga. Like, they just showed, like, a bunch of sketches. Like, I was just like, holy fucking shit. Like, really? Really? They're going to do this? They're doing this? Really? Like, I think I'm going to stop here for now because I'm bored out of my mind. But holy fucking shit. Like, 3 more episodes to go. I thought there were 25. There were 26. 3 more episodes to go. Just, man. It's just going to complete shit, and not in a good way. Like, everybody always says that, like, ooh, Evangelion is supposed to be dark. It's supposed to be bad. That's what makes it great. No, it's just all around a complete mess. Like, there's nothing interesting about it at this point. Like, even at this point, like, even the people I was praising at the beginning, like Shinji, like Asuka, Gendo, like, those people, Masato, those guys, like, everyone, like, it's just been weighed down by its bullshit. Like, I just cannot get, like, the bullshit lines out of my head. Like, even cats die. Like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, Ritsuko, like, she has this conversation with her grandma about her dead cat, and then she hangs up, and then she's just like, even cats die. And I was just like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, that doesn't mean anything. It's just, like, bullshit, nonsensical bullshit, you know? And I'm just like, wow. Everything about it is just so stupid. Just so ignorant. Like, so... I said ignorant. That's not really what I meant. Like, so so poorly put together. Like none of it really goes well together at all. Like all of these plot lines don't really mesh very well. It seems to be like collapsing in among itself. Like the ending, I have no trouble believing at this point that the ending is a complete mess. In fact, I would go so far as to say like for the past couple of episodes, since like the whole Berserk thing, like the whole like the Eva is alive moment, like ever since then, I feel like this entire thing has been devolving into like complete nonsensical bullshit. Like the ending is just going to be complete mess. Like I know I've already been spoiled on this. I know that. But like right now, I just feel like, yeah, at this point, I don't care about anything that's going on. The only reason I'm finishing it is just so I can say that I can finish it. Just so like people can't look at me in the eye and tell me that I only hate Evangelion because I didn't watch it. Like the sort of people who will tell you that like you have to finish. Like you know how people like love to overhype like shitty RPGs like Skyrim and like Fallout 3 and stuff like that. You have to play through the entire thing and like play through it all to like judge it properly. And then when you finish it, they're like, well, if you hated it that much, why did you finish it? And like that's me with Evangelion right now. Like I'm going to finish it. People are going to tell me that, like, ooh, I just didn't understand it properly. Like, I understand it. I understand that it's bullshit. I understand that it sucks. I understand that this show is fucking garbage. Just, man. Nothing about any of this is going to resolve satisfactorily in any way. Like, people are going to... Shit. I don't know what people think of the ending in depth because I've never seen it. Like... Evangelion, one of the most all-time classic, bull fucking shit. This anime is garbage, man. Garbage. It's not worth talking about. It's not worth hyping up. It doesn't even have a place in history, really. Like, so many people love to, like, give it the JoJo's treatment where they do this thing where, like, ooh, Evangelion influenced anime. It made it more mature and more adult. And I'm just like, no. Fucking bullshit. Like that mindset, that like a worldview, it reminds me of like Adventure Time and how so many people love to pretend that show is like a big deal because it pushed boundaries on what children's shows could be about. It's about nuclear fallout and shit like that. It doesn't change the fact that the show sucks at all. And in fact, I have developed a very real ideology about this. Like children's media that desperately try to be mature and like desperately try to like tackle strong mature topics and like try and like use that to like elevate themselves past like typical children's media to, like as if they're better than them. Bull fucking shit, man. I have nothing but respect for classic anime I grew up watching, okay? I have no respect for Evangelion because it's not very good. Like, at the end of the day, if your target audience does not fucking like your show, you failed, right? Evangelion does... Like, I think people who love Evangelion view it the same way that, like, people view their, like, childhood anime. Like, their childhood favorite anime. Like, yeah, they probably wouldn't like it now, but, like, it was something they liked back then. And, like, it's a big deal because of that. But when it comes to Evangelion, like, when you compare that to, like, the way I view Pokemon, or Yu-Gi-Oh!, or One Piece to an extent, to, like, how people treat Evangelion, like, I grew up, and I acknowledged Pokemon's problems. I acknowledged Yu-Gi-Oh's problems. Like, I acknowledge that, like, I'm a different person now, and that those shows weren't quite like the masterpieces aren't really a big deal for me anymore. Like Evangelion fans don't really do that. They instead like just do all this weird bullshit where they justify Evangelion's problems. They try to make these like half-hour long YouTube videos like defending the elevator scene, defending all this bullshit, defending like trying to pretend there's like some deep hidden meaning to this show when it's all complete bullshit. Like Evangelion does not automatically become good because it tackles strong subjects, okay, like depression, like the things like that. Like, that doesn't make it mature or interesting, you know? It's just a really terrible show. And whether or not it influenced other anime that like followed after it, like, it does not change the fact that Evangelion itself is bad. I've said this about JoJo's in the past. Like, it didn't influence shonen anime, but there were like, but people pretend it does, and pretend it has some sort of insane credibility because of it. But I don't feel that way about Evangelion either. Like, Evangelion is just a really boring show that does not handle drama very well at all. Like, just, I don't care about this show, or its characters, or its legacy, or its creators, or like, you know, the reasoning behind any of this is just a really garbage anime that just happens to like top people's list of like the all-time greats. Like, it reminds me of like BioShock and how that's treated among gaming enthusiasts right now. Like The Last of Us, like bullshit like that, like Mass Effect. Yeah, the show does kind of have a lot in common with Mass Effect, come to think of it. Like, ooh, it means something. It has some bullshit. Like, it has a deep story to it. Like, bull fucking shit. Like, the enemies aren't like, they aren't interesting. Like, the situation isn't interesting. Like, there's nothing there that like warrants your fascination or interest. Like, there's nothing there really. Like, it's just a really shitty thing that exists that like people hype up for no reason, because like it's been hyped up to them for years since they were kids. Like, I imagine the vast majority of people who like love Evangelion were like told before they even watched it that it was the best show ever made, that it was like this huge deal. They didn't have like, they didn't approach it the way I approached stuff I considered like the best stuff ever, you know, like Zelda, like, you know, several of the Mario games, like Metroid. Like, they didn't just pick that stuff off the shelf and were like, yeah, and played it for what it was, and then decided for themselves that this is the best anime I've ever seen in my life. No. Evangelion fans, as a whole, as a collective, had been told for years before they even watched it that this is their all-time, this is one of the all-time great anime. Amazing characters, amazing like storytelling, like amazing symbolism, like you know, tackling dark themes that had never been done before. I don't buy it. Not at all. And I really start to wonder if like a similarly popular anime, like a Death Note, I have not seen Death Note yet, like Trigun, I think, like other stuff like that. I wonder if stuff, you know, other anime that followed Cowboy Bebop, I wonder if that stuff is shit as well. I wonder if all of this is bad and like nobody wants to admit it because it's just it just has this legacy, man. Like the same reason people don't want to criticize BioShock or criticize like Red Dead Redemption or any of this, all of these other shitty video games I've spent so much time shitting on. Like I just, it's really like these people are just corrupted by their own ignorance, really. Like, it's not the anime itself that's ignorant, it's the fans. Like, they don't understand that there are better shows out there that tackle better subjects, that like that, you know, utilize characters more effectively, that tackle depression better, that like handle moments like this, you know, aspects like this show is famous for better. Like, I felt when Mikasa supposedly lost Eren in Attack on Titan, like, there were issues with that, right? Like, Eren should never have transformed into a Titan. That was fucking stupid. Like, from the get-go, I've already said that. But the way Mikasa reacted and how she handled that and how she angsted about that, like, she lost the love of her life. The man she desperately wants to marry, she lost Eren, okay? And she fucking goes into a depression because of it, like a really brief depression. But that to me spoke so much more to me than anything in Evangelion. Like, that moment was just like really, like, Mikasa has like depth to her. She has like different personality. She has like a personality. She does different stuff. Like, you know, the situation evolves, you know, like the situation changes, you know, like she does different stuff. Like, I don't really get that impression from Evangelion. They just do the same thing over and over and over again, and it sucks. It really, really does suck. Like, I am not joking. I am not exaggerating at all when I come out and say like the Attack on Titan anime is better than Evangelion. Like, it's better animated, it's more interesting, the situation is more unique, it's more creative, the characters are more interesting, like they have more versatile personalities. Like, sure, Attack on Titan has problems. Like, I imagine I am starting to have like hit issues with like some of the motivations of like some of the characters' actions and stuff like that. But like, you know, it's kept me invested for like 30 episodes or so. Like, how long is it now? Like 34 episodes, something like that. Like, I am very invested in Attack on Titan at this point. I am not at all invested in Evangelion. Not at all. I would not watch the movie. Like, I don't think I'm going to watch the movies. Like, I said I was going to, just to watch that ridiculous scene where like Shinji masturbates over a comatose Asuka, but I don't fucking think I'm going to do it because I'm just not interested. Like, I don't know. Like, I think Evangelion is sort of having that like sort of George Lucas treatment. Like although the fans don't really admit it. Like, fans are not the George Lucas treatment. Oh, what am I talking about? Like, the Hideo Kojima treatment. Like, people are blaming like the studio and like people involved like in the production and like the merchandising of Evangelion for like problems it has, for like the way they treat their female characters, and you know, why they don't just make a new TV series and stuff like that. I disagree. Like much like with Hideo Kojima, I think the creators themselves aren't nearly as talented or as like amazing as people make them out to be. Like the Ren and Stimpy guy, like what is his name? Like that guy, the guy who was just outed as a fucking pedophile. That guy, a fucking talentless hack. Like, what has the Evangelion creator worked on other than Evangelion? I don't fucking know. I have no fucking idea. Like, I almost get the impression he hasn't worked on anything other than Evangelion. Like, if you're a creative person, you do not spend 20 years like on one success, okay? You just don't. Like, J.K. Rowling is working on something else. Like, whatever. Neil Gaiman makes other shit other than, you know, stuff he's famous for working on. Like, creative people work on creative other stuff. Like, you know, like they do different things. Like, just what it feels like when it comes to Evangelion. Like, I don't know, man. Like, people blame the production company. Like, they blame the schedule for like how Evangelion went downhill. They do all this shit to like justify their bullshit. But really, I think the creators aren't really nearly as talented as people give them credit for. I don't. Like, there's nothing here that really makes me think that like these guys did something new. They did something innovative. They did something like fresh for their time. Like, it's not because like it's an old anime or anything. Like, I have plenty of respect for like older anime. Like, I said this before. Like, I love Fist of the North Star. I just got into that like last year. Amazing series. I don't feel the same way about Evangelion, not at all, and like, it doesn't do anything for me, like, at all. Like, it doesn't handle depression very well. It handles subverting giant robot tropes very well. It doesn't handle like its characters very well. Its world building is shit. Like, everything about it just screams to me like it was incompetently produced. Like, it has nothing to do with like it having a low budget or having like a terrible, or like having like these evil overlord company like dictating what they can and can't do, like what the genius creators can and can't do. No, I think the show just did not have that much talent behind it to begin with. Like, they can't just... Everything I've read about it so far seems to point in that direction. Like, I was not surprised at all when Hideo Kojima, when Death Stranding started being hyped up, and like as this new exciting property from Hideo Kojima, I was not surprised at all to hear that Hideo Kojima was like going around fucking around celebrities, talking with like voice actors, going to Hollywood, like all while not actually showing gameplay footage for this fucking game. All on Sony's dime. Like, I was not surprised at all when he did that, because I knew exactly what kind of person he was. He was this person who was obsessed with this idea of moving on to Hollywood, of being this Hollywood producer, of being like a real star, you know? And this is coming from someone who like loves Metal Gear Solid 3, okay? Like, Hideo Kojima, to me, always felt like one of those people who take credit for work other people do. Like, Steve Jobs, like George Lucas to an extent, like that sort of person, Like, he was never the core the genius behind Metal Gear, and that became more and more evident like since Metal Gear Solid 3, as like more and more people like involved in Metal Gear started like leaving. Of course, like Fukushima, like some of the voice like I don't think most American fans realized something was wrong with Konami until Metal Gear Solid 5 came out. But hardcore Konami fans, like myself included, would have told you that like Konami had been going downhill since the 90s. Like the Silent Hill team was mistreated. That was written off as just being due to like the Silent Hill team not being able to like win over like the higher ups. But really, it was like the higher ups that were like a problem with Konami as a whole. Like that's just my thing on this. Like, Konami was blamed for a whole lot of shit that Hideo Kojima did. Like, it was Hideo Kojima's decision. Like, he was involved with like a lot of like decisions Konami made in the last decade. A lot of extremely controversial decisions, like how they handled Castlevania, how they've handled Silent Hill, like how they've like handled other franchises in general. Like, Konami does not have any other franchises like anymore. Like, what have they released at all in the past couple of years other than like Bomberman and like shitty rhythm games and the Metal Gear Survive? Like, Konami is dead, okay? I wonder how long it's going to be until Capcom, and like, if Capcom did not have Monster Hunter, they would be in that same Ace Attorney. They would be in that same boat. And I think like Monster Hunter World is, to a certain extent, like their Metal Gear Solid 5. Like, they're not going to be able to do this thing like where they jumped platforms again and like managed to like pretend that they like, ooh, we can do stuff we couldn't do before with this new technology. They won't be able to do that again. Fuck that. Like, people have lost interest in Monster Hunter. Like, people are now, the Nintendo fans, or like the actual dedicated Monster Hunter fan base, are just like, okay, where is the Monster Hunter on our platform? Like, just... Okay, I'm just rambling about this for a minute, but my point about like, when it comes back to Evangelion, is that the creators are not blameless for this. Like, the next episode of Evangelion, episode 24, looks like a fucking sketch, okay? Like, from what I've seen from the preview, like, this is going to be embarrassing. I just know it. And I'm going to take a break now. I don't want to watch this anymore. I'm gonna have lunch and then probably come back to it tonight, ramble about this some more, but man, I'm on episode 23. I just finished episode 23. Evangelion sucks, okay? There's no other way to interpret this. Like, this anime is overhyped bullshit.